Welcome to Session Sunday. Hi guys, it's Jack Edwards, and in today's video we're going to be looking at one-to-one finishing drills. But before we get into this week's video, make sure to leave us a like and subscribe, and if you missed last week's video, click on the link above. Okay, so moving into the first part of this week's session, we're going to be focusing on two different types of finishes: a touch out to the feet and finish, and then a quick reaction to finish a half volley or a full volley. But before we get into it, let's have a look at the equipment that we'll be using for this week and the setup for this part of the session. So obviously we're just doing a one-to-one session. We're just going to be working with one player, but if you have a small group, so let's say you had 2 players, you can then just adapt if having 2 players as well, where players can take the coach's place instead, and obviously the players can just alternate with each go. Now, we have got a goalkeeper for the animations, but if you don't have a goalkeeper, that's fine, okay? A lot of one-to-one sessions are done without a goalkeeper, okay? You're just trying to focus the players on finishing in the corner. You can put poles or cones in the goal to try and block out certain areas, so the players are trying to put the ball into those corners. In terms of the equipment, we're going to be focusing on using balls, cones, and then if you've got poles or mannequins, that'd be brilliant to use, as it makes the players reenact, obviously trying to go away from the defender to create space to receive the ball. Now, the setup for this part of the session, so we're going to go from the goal to where the pole is here, okay, can either be 15 or 20 yards. We don't want to be too far out, okay, and also we don't want to be too close as well. So it's going to be 2 finishes in one, okay, before we go back and then repeat, and then after a certain amount of reps, you're going to switch it and work on the opposite foot. So we're going to be working on the right foot here, and then you can turn and go the opposite side and go from the left foot. So what it's going to be, the player will start behind the pole or the mannequin, okay, they'll move out to the side slightly to receive it, set back to the coach, and then move up and round to the other side, okay, where they're going to receive it on the back foot. So when they move back here, they're looking to push out to receive. So then once they receive it, the ball is going to come in front of them so they can push it forward, okay, with that back foot, into space, out of the feet, to then finish, okay, so looking for that finish into one of the corners. As soon as the player is finished, the coach will have another ball ready, okay? The player then moves round again, so all the way round. As they're coming round the back, the coach is going to look to throw the ball up, okay? So we're not looking to throw it dead high in the air. It's just a little throw out of the hands, okay? So from the midriff, okay? So the ball can be bouncing, or it can be timed so that it bounces and then it comes up as a full volley, okay? For the player to meet and then finish. So the trick with the volleys is staying over the ball, okay? Not trying to change the technique as we make contact, following straight through the ball, okay? So the arm, the head, the knee over the ball, making sure that standing leg, okay, is firm and isn't moving, okay? But we're also light on our feet as well to follow through with our contact. As soon as that volley's been hit, okay, play moves back to the start and then repeats. So in terms of the repetitions, you're going to look to do between 6 and 8, okay? So either going 3 or 4 times for each finish in each set, and then again you can do 3 or 4 sets each side, okay, before moving on. So again, we're moving out to set quickly, okay? So first time passes, creating that space to receive, open out into space, so good first touch off the feet to finish. As soon as we've finished, back around the pole, okay, to move onto the ball, so no hesitation, move straight onto the ball to finish first time. We will now move into our first animation before moving on to part 2 of this week's session. Now moving into part 2 of this week's session, we're now focusing on a touch into space, okay, to drive forward and then finish, okay, so we're focusing on receiving on the back foot, so our receiving skills to receive the ball off the coach from an angle, okay, where we can then touch the ball out of the feet, so touching away from the defender to then attack the space and finish. Again, they're going to work off both sides, so we're going to do a couple of sets from the right side receiving the ball and then a couple of sets receiving from the left side. So the play will start, so we're going to have a pole or a mannequin here. They're going to start on the far side of it, okay? and then they're going to drop in to receive the ball. Okay, so looking to create that space to receive. So when the ball gets played in, they can either take the ball across the body and through this gate to move in and finish, or drop the shoulder, bit of disguise to open out and take the ball back across the body to open out and finish. So what we're looking for is a good first touch into space, then drive through the gate into space, and then we're looking for the finish, okay? If we're set straight away, can we look to finish early, okay? So if you do have a goalkeeper, they look to come out. If not, again, we're looking for the player, once they drive through, to finish quickly, and then again, looking for those corners. You don't have to put poles or cones in, okay? But it's also just a nice guide for the players to try and focus on putting the ball in those areas. It gives them more chance to score if a goalkeeper is in. In terms of the setup again, so from the goal line into where the cones are, okay, you can be, again, 15 yards out, okay, a little bit further if you wanted to, and then you're going to have where the pole is extra 5 yards. So if you wanted to start at 15, it'd be between 15 and 20. If you wanted to start at that 20, it'd be 20 to 25. Again, just depends on how far you want the players to be out. If you do have a goalkeeper, if you're working on a full-size goal or in a smaller size goal, and then what size area you've got and the player at the age group that you're working with. So again, the focus is on that quick movement to enable, so when they're moving into here, okay, it's that body shape to enable that when the ball comes in, that they can go both ways. They can take the ball back across where it came from, or open out and take the ball into space to then finish. And then we're looking for that composure in front of goal, okay, relaxing in there, but also penetrating quickly, not taking too much time and hesitating, but striking the ball early, okay, and finding the corners as much as we can. So after a couple of sets, changes to this side, player starts this side, moves in this way, receives it, can either open out and go into space, or take the ball back across the body and then look to finish. We will now move into our next animation before moving on to the final part of this week's session. Okay, now moving into the final part of this week's session, we're now focusing on cutbacks, so first time finishes. So we're going to be focusing on doing it at different angles, so finishing with our left and right foot. So in terms of the setup, okay, you're just going to have 3 poles or cones set up, okay? One just to the left of the post, one to the right of the post, and then one central a little bit further back. So again, you could do 15 yards for these 2 ones, and then 20 yards for the central one. So the coach, again, it's going to be so many sets from one side, so many sets from the other side. If you have 2 players, obviously if you're doing a 2-to-1, you can work off both sides and the player can just alternate. So the player looks to come round the pole or the cone, and then as they come round, the player looks to play the ball in, and the player looks to finish first time. As soon as they finish the ball, okay, coach has the next ball ready, the player can come around the pole either this way or come around the other way, so they're trying to put themselves in a position to move onto the ball with a preferred foot, but we want them to alternate. As soon as they move in, strike again, okay, looking to find the corners, okay, but looking to keep it on target with the first time finishes, okay, so use the pace which is on the ball, stay over the ball, okay, and look to guide the ball into the goal. As soon as they finished again, they can come round again, looking to meet that ball, so they're getting different angles to finish, okay? So focusing on putting the ball in different areas of the goal. Once they've done so many, they just go back around the poles again, so you can just go around the same one twice after 3 shots, and then go back to the central one again to come round onto the ball to finish. And then you can choose how many reps you want to do. The minimum you want to try and do is 6, so they go to each pole twice, okay? And the maximum can be 8 or 10, okay? You don't want to wear the players out too much, okay? So especially if you're doing a few reps each side as well. Let's say you're doing 3 repetitions each side. If you do 3 reps of 6, 18 finishes off one side, and then 18 finishes off the other side. So again, that ability to finish first time, movement onto the ball, no hesitation, quick glance up to see where they want to put the ball, okay, but making sure that the players are watching the ball, okay, to see the path of where it's coming towards them, adapting to it with the body shape, and then looking to finish. We will now move into our final animation before concluding this week's session. Thanks for watching this week's video. Don't forget to head over to our website where you can sign up to view all of our exclusive content. And we'll see you next week for another session Sunday.